part of We the People, celebrating 250 years. Here's This Day in History.
Well, as we count down to America's 250th birthday this summer, we're sharing our We the People series. The people, places, and things of the past that have shaped our country into what it is today. Here's Charlie Shortino with today's This Day in History.
Hello again. On this day, April 21st, back in 2016, Prince, the musician who created more than 30 albums and won 7 Grammy Awards over a 40-year career, was found dead in Paisley Park, his Minnesota home and recording studio. The cause of death was an accidental overdose of the opioid fentanyl. He was 57 years old. In the hours and days after the news broke, fans around the world mourned his death with massive memorials. Prince Rogers Nelson was born on June 7, 1958 in Minneapolis to musicians Matty Shaw and John Nelson. As a teenager, Prince played in bands with his friends. In 1978, when he was 20, he signed his first record contract with Warner Brothers, and at that same year released his debut album, For You. Nearly every year after that, he released a new album. Prince's 6th studio album, Purple Rain, released in 1984, was a high point in his career. The album spent 24 consecutive weeks at #1 on the Billboard 200 chart. It spawned 2 hit singles, When Doves Cry and Let's Go Crazy, and won the Grammy Award for Best Rock Performance. It sold 13 million copies. That's This Day in History for April 21st. For We the People, I'm Charlie Shortino.